All right. Today is Thursday, February 26th. We are almost done with this month. It's been delightful. I hate to see it go, but I'm going to enjoy every second of it. All right. This is one of those Wheaties box holders. These are super cheap, like collectors will get them. I'm going to take this out, but I wanted to show it to you. And I want to tell you about the pictures first. So this was sold as part of an auction that was on eBay for the TV show Extra for some charity. And this was the guy in charge of securing all the signatures. And he got Mr. T, my favorite celebrity, my favorite star of the 80s. He got Mr. T. He also got Barbara Eden, Tony Randall, and a few other big names. And so in it, they had Mr. T signing a few items. I know one of them was a board game. One of them was a cereal box, and I didn't own a copy of his cereal box or a version of it. And so that was pretty exciting to me. And he signed it on the TV show on Extra, Extra, Extra. And then when they would go to commercial, they would show all the stars. And one of the things they showed was Mr. T holding this cereal box. And so I'm going to take it out and I'll show it to you. But I want to also point out to you, so Mr. T signed it in red right there. He said it pays to have a short name. And what I thought was so interesting was that this was like the early days of what we know as the internet, right? And so when this little piece of tape here, I don't want to peel that off. Just leave it be. I'm not going to touch it. But this was in the early days of the internet. And so Extra, the TV show, had for its time, high resolution scan of the cover of this cereal box. And for the longest time, that was the image of this cereal box that you would see. This was like any website that had a picture of the cereal box. It was this particular one, this one with this signature on it. And so I'd always be like, it's my cereal box. This is a very damaged cereal box. The box has been cut here, and I'm not clear on why it was cut because the proof of purchase is here. And I don't see, I know you would collect other things. I think there was actually, I don't think it was Quaker Oats though. I think it was General Mills where they had something where you would collect their logo and you could send it in for, I don't think you would send it in actually. I think you'd give it to your school and they'd get money from it or something. But I don't remember. Quaker Oats Company. At one point, I wrote to the Quaker Oats people, and I have a letter on their stationery. I'll have to dig it up sometime. Maybe I'll do a story about this for the main channel because not this box particularly, but the Mr. T cereal is a bit of an interesting story, and it had that high profile moment, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But I wrote to the Quaker Oats people. And I said, hey, do you have any, I know it's been decades since you made that cereal, but do you have any promotional material or any behind the scenes, document or anything you could send me? And I did that. I wrote to a lot of places and I got some cool stuff, by the way. Back in the day, you send them a self-addressed stamped envelope to like Universal Studios and ask a question. They'll mail you stuff. And so I wrote to that cereal company and they sent me some cool stuff promoting, like Quaker Oats stuff. But I got a letter on their stationery that says, we didn't make that cereal. That was General Mills. And it was not General Mills. Spoiler alert. But so I do have that letter. And that is... All right, let's see here. We've got Mr. T. It's basically the same image. This is from the Mr. T animated series, which actually, this is how Mr. T spells his name. But the animated series was M-I-S-T-E-R-T with no period. Which it's first name Mr. Middle name is that period. Last name T. The T is for tough, but that's for the men, but for the women and children, it's for tender. That's Mr. T. So anyway, the show, and I'll show you this. We're going to read this sketch on the back here, but the show had these gymnasts, and the gymnasts at Mr. T was like their bus driver for some reason. They were like Olympic gymnasts, and Mr. T is the bus driver, and he's like their coach for some reason. I don't know if it was like, well, he drives the van on the A team. Maybe we'll just put him on this bus. But yeah, it was Mr. T cartoon. And so the gymnasts would go to do a show. They'd be like, we're doing a show in Oklahoma. And so they'd go to Oklahoma, and then all of a sudden some dastardly bad guys would be stealing somebody's watch or something. And then they'd go to the swamp, and Mr. T would beat up an alligator in the swamps of Oklahoma. I don't know. My story I mix in episodes, but anyway. But you got Mr. T, same image on every side of the box, basically. And it says, believe it, Mr. T cereal is more than my pretty face. A 1 ounce serving of my cereal gives your child 15% of U.S. recommended daily allowance for iron and 15% to 30% of 5 essential vitamins. 15% to 30% for 5 essential B vitamins. So it has a pretty big range. I mean, I guess maybe it's the size of your kid. Maybe it's not how much they're like, oh, we threw in too much B vitamins in some of these. Thiamine promotes use of carbohydrates for energy. Riboflavin. Mr. T's just, he's just looking at the periodic table of elements and just telling us all about it. As always, they're always like, and your cereal's got to come with some orange juice, and it's got to come with some bread, some toast. I have a theory, and I bet I'm right on this. I have a theory that the orange juice, like Tropicana or Minute Maid, that they had like a union, like a club, and I bet they paid like Quaker Oats, like a combined thing. All of the orange juice people are like, look, you got to tell everybody they got to have some orange juice. And it kind of was like a symbiotic relationship, because the cereal people would say, oh, part of this complete breakfast, right? But wouldn't you think they'd want to say that just their product was complete? But the good thing about saying it was part of this was that they could then say, they gave like all the stats about how good it was. They could kind of throw in that orange juice. And that was back when they thought like bread was good for you. Not that it's the worst thing you can have, but I think they used to think bread was far better for you. For consumer response, Mr. T at the address below. So if you have something to say to Mr. T, they have the ingredients there. If you guys have a cereal puffing machine, I guess you could make them. They were very Captain Crunch like. I remember them tasting more like C-3POs though. All right, let's take a look. This is our kids here on the back, and we'll read the cartoon here. Hey kids, start your day the Mr. T way. And then she says, here it comes. Great. I can hardly wait. Hey, come back. So we got the Mr. T cereal truck pulling up. And then Mr. T says, what's the matter, kids? And they said, Mr. T, somebody just drove away with our Mr. T cereal. And he says, they won't get away with it. Come on. Look at that. Let's see what's going to happen. These thieves. They literally are thieves. They just want to eat some cereal. So they're eating the cereal. Mr. T goes, I know how to handle them. And he shuts the window on them. I don't really understand that. He shuts the window, and they say, oh, it's the cops. And then the kids get the cereal back. And it ends with, and thanks for the delicious new Mr. T cereal. It's like Inception, too, by the way. The box is on the box and just zoomed in forever. I absolutely adore Mr. T. He was my idol growing up, and I've been lucky enough to meet him a few times and chat with him and get pictures with him. And he has always been super cool. Like, always, every time been, super cool to meet. So hope I get to see him one more time, maybe 2 more times, maybe 10 more times. But I haven't seen him in years. But there was I think he's somewhat retired now. I know he did a convention, his first convention not that long ago. So I'd love it if I would get to do one of those with him. But years ago, he was doing a lot of stuff on Conan when Conan was on in New York. And I used to go, anytime I'd hear he was going to be there, I'd go and try to get in. And I usually was able to get in, got to see him, shake hands with him, get a picture. That stuff's fun. If you ever go to where they tape those TV shows, they put like an area and they'll kind of like section it off, and security will be like, you stand right here. And most of the celebrities just come out and they don't say hi, but Mr. T would always come over and say hi, take some pictures, sign some autographs, shake hands with people. And I love that. Really cool guy, really cool cereal. I'll see you tomorrow.